that's essentially what I wanted to rock on, right? To get familiar with the system, but we can do that some other time. We're going to have a secondary meeting about this Distech stuff to get more fine details out anyway, but I just wanted this to be an overview. So, in recap, there are 4 different types of wiring schemes for the ECB VAVs and 2 types for the ECB 300s. They're all very similar. The hardware connections pins are read and controlled by the GFX program, but you can pull them into ECF4 Pro. Once in the station, the data can be communicated to other drivers, which is very powerful. Box is the final nail in the coffin, but the station you can set up so it can talk to the Modbus registers. And you have to link them together in that station. It gets tedious if you have a lot of station or a lot of points. And for this project, there are 4 stations, all with designated devices that I already talked to engineering about and they approved. So there are going to be 4 stations, 1 for each Jace. We sign that has X amount of controllers that it's looking at, monitoring, controlling. And really, the Jace is just a conversion. They're controlling themselves.
So 16 stations?
No, 1 for each Jace. Yes. So Jace can only run 1 node or station at a time. All right. That's enough of that soliloquy. Any questions?
Oh, yeah. Good. So these controllers, you functionally view them as though they're on the PLC.
They're not nearly as powerful, but yes. Yeah. So they can. There's just a really limited amount of I/O for the PLC.
Versaki.
Actually, they would be pretty good. There's some models that agitate pretty quickly.
So you guys, just to get this straight, the whole architecture that has been assembled for Bear is you guys have these PK controllers, which stands for PLC killer.
Yes, that is correct.
And you're using this PK controller to send data to what is essentially a PLC.
Yep. Don't tell Bear.
It already has its own program in it.
Yes.
And so what happens when the PLC killer controller and whatever levels of redundancy that you guys have fail?
That's a great question. Number 1, that won't fail because we're awesome. Number 2, if it does, I'm starting my sales career a little early here.
The PKs are redundant.
Yeah, the PKs are done, but let's say both of them go out. We set up these Distech boxes so that the values in them get overridden by Delta constantly, all of the time. But if there's no communication, the Distech boxes will function by themselves.
After the last set from you.
No, they each have their own individual PID, and they are the ones that are pulling in the temperatures and the valve positions, so they can function completely independently. But we let that.
We had them set. I thought we were set. So
that's correct with the pressure controller if the door is open. That's the only time it holds last value. The rest of the time they are autonomous. They have the ability to be autonomous.
So it's not less base, it's whatever their base program is. Otherwise it's override.
Yes, so if there is communication, it's just a Delta V server. That's all it is. But if Delta V goes down, then they can function on their own. They have their own PID loops, they have their own chase functions, they have their own everything. Good question to question the infrastructure of the communications. Yeah, that's fair.
It's just because like we were messing around with this at Series 2, and you guys have done it a little bit differently, even though we're still dealing with the same type of vehicles, which is the Delta V setup at Tier 2 is reading data off of the VAV box, and the VAV box is left to control itself.
That's because the capability to do that.
The only control that we're running from Delta V at Tier 2 is to switch it from whether Delta V is in control or whether the VAV box is controlling itself. And I think there's like a few sub points you can change.
That's the same setup. So if you wanted to, that override function that I showed you, that true false, you can do that in this tech, and then that's it. It overrides Delta V. So if you really wanted to, you can go in and make it so Delta V has no power.
So the same functionality exists in 2 projects, but you guys have just split the script and you put Delta V in the driver's seat as the default.
That's correct. Any questions for you, Christy?
I've been kind of distracted, so I'll need to watch this again.
No, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's a lot of very high level information too, so it can easily get pretty confusing.
Yeah, but it's awesome. Definitely gonna review it again, and thank you for making this PowerPoint.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So plan is probably sometime either at the end of this week or early next week, I want to have another Distech review about the specifics of the programming and dive deeper into what the points mean. And that's where during my conversation is going to kind of, that presentation is going to be based off of your and my conversation essentially.
The
Okay.
largest task we're gonna run to inside